Digitisation can no longer be an afterthought for your business. It needs to be a core, a fundamental part of your digital strategy. Your customers expect you to be digital, and also it's an incredibly important part of creating sustainable competitive advantage. So on today's panel, we've got some entrepreneurs and some business experts, and we're going to talk about how digitisation can help your business and help you create value. Today I'm joined on the panel by Gillian Moore, who's the Head of Digital for UK and Ireland at Atos. She's got over 20 years of experience helping companies go through digital transformation. Also, Javid Khan, who's the Chief Cloud Officer at Paulson. So he's got a wide experience of helping companies adopt and utilise cloud technologies. I'm also joined by Christine Tellian, co-founder of U&I. It's a business using digital technologies, including cloud and AI, to help small businesses with their online presence. So I'm going to start with Gillian. So we've all heard about digital transformation. It's important to embrace digital technologies. But what does that actually mean for a medium-sized business? And where should they start?
Well, they should start by focusing on the problem they want to solve. I think too many organisations and too many people get distracted by big words and interesting phrases such as AI and automation. But some things haven't changed. Improving business is about solving problems and realising opportunities. All technology does is bring new and different options to do that, and data brings more insight, but it's still about focusing on the problem in hand and how you address it.
So if you're a medium-sized business, what opportunities are there today that there weren't in terms of embracing this kind of technology that weren't there, a couple of years ago?
First thing is probably connecting with their customer. You can connect more directly and more immediately if you embrace technology and you use that. The second is the speed of getting up and running and driving changes and doing new things. And cloud technology is a massive enabler of making that happen. And then the third is insight. You can know so much more about what's going on in your organisation, in your business, with your customer base, and you can use that knowledge in a sensible way. And that's what things like AI and data technology support.
Gillian, it's probably worth you explaining, because I know a lot of people watching this have heard the phrase AI or machine learning, but can you just explain what it is?
That's a big question. And AI is a big term that gets used a lot and means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But basically, it's about replicating the human thought process on data and information, but it enables us to do it at much greater scale and much more rapidly, so we can get through data that you could never do in a million years from a human point of view.
And give us some examples of where it can be utilised.
Yeah, I mean, it can be used for, and it is being used for really, really massive important things. For instance, we worked on a project to work with one of the health bodies to make sure that organs, when they're being matched for donation, using artificial intelligence to make sure that they're as matched as best they possibly can be, right the way through to much smaller instances, such as I've worked with a telco who use it to track their journeys that people are going on through the buying cycle for mobile phones and making sure that they're optimising that. So it's already being used everywhere in lots of different ways. Some of them are very big and dramatic, and some of them are a lot smaller.
So there's a huge amount of data being generated now. It's a question of how you sort of store that, manage it and analyse it.
Massive amount of data these days. It's one of the biggest opportunities and biggest challenges when you look at digitisation. And that's the reason that technologies such as AI and machine learning have been developed. There's so much data that human beings alone can't sift through it all and make the most of it. But these technologies help enhance our abilities to do that and to learn more.
So Javid, cloud, we've all heard the term cloud technology. We all use it in our sort of home life in many ways, but that's increasingly important in business. So just explain what the power of cloud is for a medium-sized business.
I think the biggest benefit of leveraging public cloud or cloud in general is the agility, speed to market. So the idea of getting the customer product, whatever it might be, software, the end user interface to the customer, at pace is key. Security is a massive play. Lots of big wins by moving workloads or instances or platforms into public cloud because it's highly secure. And 9 times out of 10, it's actually probably more secure than your existing infrastructure to date. And cost is probably the biggest benefit if done properly, and I caveat that. Moving to public cloud, leveraging all of the pre-existing services that cloud-based platforms offer you can reduce your costs phenomenally.
So it's about rethinking business and using technologies in ways that, because of economies of scale, that a medium-sized business couldn't really afford. And that really just transforming the way in which you can use these technologies, AI, cloud, whatever it might be.
Absolutely, it's the foundation of getting your that footprint so that you can start going on to the great technologies like machine learning, AI, and all the great stuff we're talking about today. So, the other element to this is the cost. You're moving away from a capex model to more of a opex model, so a pay as you consume, which for small and medium-sized businesses, that's gold dust.
So you're turning fixed cost into variable cost.
Absolutely.
A medium-sized business is a good thing.
1,000,000%, absolutely.
So perhaps share some examples of how your customers are embracing cloud technology and using it to add value for their businesses.
So right now we have a very varied range of customers using public cloud or cloud in general. We have customers that use public cloud primarily, so those customers are embracing public cloud in its true form. They're already on the journey of real data analytics. They're already leveraging platforms to their disposal because they're already in that cloud space. Their core infrastructure and their core application architecture is already been optimized, ready for that next generation or next wave of analytical thinking. We've also got customers that are just about to embrace cloud or halfway in between.
So you don't have to go all in one go, do you?
Absolutely.
You can move slowly in a pace that works for your business.
And we absolutely, that's what we advocate. It's not a race to cloud. It's a slow process. For some customers, they embrace it really well. They actually do embrace cloud at pace. Some customers just need to go through their maturity.
So what's the end game then? What's the ultimate advantage of eventually everything is most likely to be in the cloud, unless it's a very specific reason, security or a regulatory reason. What does the end game look like?
So by going into cloud, it means that you're able to get to your customers quick, secure, and at an efficient pace. With the traditional mindset or the traditional infrastructure sitting in hardware assets, taking those application releases or upgrading your infrastructure would be a very mundane and manual process. By having it in public cloud, everything is now done by scripts and automation. So the ability to get to your end customer is drastically increased.
So Christine, just talk me through your business. So your business, you've embraced cloud and AI. In fact, you use it to run your business, and you provide services to small businesses. Just explain to the viewers how it all works and fits together.
So we provide online visibility for small and micro businesses.
So kind of SEO, website.
Exactly. Website, email accounts. The websites are search engine optimized. We list the businesses on high visibility platforms, social media, map sites. And we rely on these technologies, cloud, AI, and automation, to deliver the product, also even just to onboard the customers. So it's embedded in what we do.
Otherwise, you're doing all of this one by one, individually for each end customer.
Yeah, and certainly to do this at scale, I mean, we have 1,000 business customers signing up every day. And to be able to serve them with a high quality product, we have to rely on automations. So for example, in acquiring our customers, what we found is with small businesses, one of the biggest barriers for them to get online is just to provide the initial information that is required to build a website. So we actually have a chatbot that interacts with the business customer, asks them some questions. They provide answers that then we can propose some information that goes on the business website. And this reduces the friction in signing up for a website, getting online in the first place.
So your business couldn't really exist 5 years ago in terms of, well, it could do, but not in an economic form.
That's right. I mean, the scale at which we are doing this, and the ability to offer a freemium product. So the fact that our offering as a website and listings on some basic platforms is actually free. We could only do that with the help of a lot of this automation. There's a tension here between humans and machines. What we found is the technology has really, it's not reduced the number of people that are involved in our business. In fact, it's only grown because with the help of technology, we can scale more, grow faster, handle more data. And as a result, the human side of it is much higher skilled. So reviewing the quality of the content, managing these automations. On the development side, our DevOps engineers handle continuous integration, continuous delivery, which basically allows for much more rapid release of updates to our software.
So Gillian, we talked about data. So any business now, no matter what size you are, any medium-sized business is creating a huge amount of data, which if you can use it correctly in many ways, can enhance your customer experience and your profitability. So what's your advice for a medium-sized business in terms of embracing cloud, especially AI, to improve their business prospects?
Data gives you insight. And that needs to be looked at, and it can add value, but it also needs human beings to understand what you want to look at in the first place. For medium businesses, if they're starting to get into this and really looking at their data, I would still advise to go back to what's the thing you want to know, what's the one question you'd like the answer to, and then use your data sets to find that out. And as you get more used to having a business that can make data-led decisions, use that insight and developing that maturity in people, then you can start to move more towards, okay, we have a bigger data set, how can we use AI to help understand that more, and to dig into it a bit more and start to learn even more about our business.
But it's important, isn't it, to understand that data is important, so you're actually collecting it and managing it in a way which that allows you to utilise in ways you may not understand now in the future.
Absolutely, but there is the danger that you collect too much data and you don't know what to do with it. What you can actually do is design experiences to collect the data that you know you really need.
I think Gillian's very right about that. I mean, on our side, we're using data to help with our customer support. So, for example, traditionally customers will write into chat with all kinds of questions, and by collecting a lot of these questions, you're able to basically program bot solutions to propose answers to deal with a customer query on the spot in seconds, much more efficiently than any human can, and theoretically around the clock.
If you haven't started thinking about digital transformation, that journey, and moving to the cloud, what's your advice for that kind of medium-sized business?
I think it's definitely recommended to look at the actual business goal, the business strategy. For me, I preach to a lot of our customers to actually know thyself, know your infrastructure, your application estate, your business processes, understand how you do things today, because then that will actually create a nice gap of what work you need to do to transform into cloud properly.
Do you still get a lot of that, what I call fear, uncertainty and doubt about cloud? And sometimes it's people telling you, don't go into the cloud, it's not secure, for example.
Absolutely.
Which isn't the case these days.
No, absolutely. And I still have these debates with quite a lot of C-levels actually to this day in mid-sized businesses around privacy and data security. The idea of data dispersing across regions and the world, if that's the way it's been set up, absolutely can happen. But with the way the cloud providers, the hyperscalers of technology world today, and businesses like ours that have private cloud, we can control where the data sits. We can, data sovereignty isn't much as an issue anymore because the footprint is so large across the world now. So we've pretty much debunked that myth around data sovereignty and data residing in.
And cloud's not magic, is it? It's one for Gillian really. Cloud is it's building blocks, isn't it? You have to design a solution for the cloud.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other advice that we would give to clients on top of that, which is that cloud is a beginning, not an end. I think in the past, a lot of people have looked at cloud as this is an infrastructure project. It's about replacing our infrastructure. Once we're there, we're there. That's not the case anymore. Cloud, if you really want to justify the effort and the cost and the disruption that it can cause, it's about what happens next once you've moved to cloud, which is about liberating your data. It's about all the other things that it enables, that flexibility and being able to grow and respond to your business challenges. But if you think about cloud as in isolation as an infrastructure project, it can become quite daunting and quite expensive.
Absolutely, we promote it. We actually call it digital evolution. So for me, it's an evolving roadmap. Once you're in cloud, as Gillian said, it doesn't stop there. You have to keep evolving. Technology is advancing. In order to get to the robotics and the analytical domain, you have to advance in the way you implement and the way you're embracing public cloud.
And the cloud evolves with you. I'm sure that your business, Christine, what you offer your end customers is a solution that's evergreen.
Yeah, that's right.
So you don't have to pay for upgrades. It just happens. And again, people are used to that in their personal life. And that's what cloud gives you. It's a solution which is upgraded on the fly, typically.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, where we have really enjoyed the benefits, it's around the ability to scale. So as we're serving so many business customers, and obviously these are businesses, so they have customers visiting their websites, being in the cloud helps us manage that traffic. So that's really important. It allows us to be much more efficient, save a lot of cost. Our engineers are not worrying about hardware, and so we can grow much faster.
And on a way, you're continuing really. I guess that your end customers will probably outgrow you at some point. They may be talking to Jabba's business, and if they do extremely well, they could be working with Gillian. So actually, this works for businesses of all sizes, but I think most businesses that can really benefit from it are those in the middle as medium-sized businesses.
Absolutely. I think the mid-sized sector for us is a real good sweet spot for those businesses that want to embrace cloud, because they don't have the footprint, say, the enterprises have. The challenges that enterprises have with lots of shadow IT functions and lots of monolithic architecture.
So shadow IT is where if you don't give them the solution they think they want or they're used to having in their personal life, they'll go and find it anyway outside that corporate
by any
network.
means, and they have mini IT functions and IT departments even within their own divisions. And when you start talking to enterprises, you then have that mammoth task of actually uncoupling all of the stuff that's already in play, and it's definitely a cobweb. Mid-sized businesses tend to have that problem.
The key thing there, though, is that digital is democratic, and every organisation, however big, medium or small it is, has those challenges. What it allows is everybody in the organisation to work out what they want to do and make that happen. In the past, as you say, that's created shadow IT, it's created other ways of doing it. All organisations, all businesses now, whatever their size, need to embrace this concept that not just cloud, but digital is something that is constantly evolving, and it's something that gives power to everybody in the organisation. So how do you embrace that? How do you get everybody on board using it, making the most of it and getting enthusiastic about it and constantly evolving over time?
I mean, not too long ago, only large companies had a competitive advantage over medium-sized businesses because they could embrace technology, there were systems integrators, whereas now a medium-sized business can have exactly the same tech as a very large enterprise.
And you see that with all the challenger brands. It's a level playing field now because technology allows everyone to get there quicker and have the same kind of relationships with their customers.
What I actually find with those challenger brands is they actually got the development team behind them, so they've got the DevOps mindset, they've already got the continuous integration or continuous delivery approach to applications, so they're already leveraging public cloud in the best possible form in comparison to the enterprises out there. So we're actually at an advantage in some cases, which is a very strange paradigm shift right now.
There's some great tips there from the panel. I hope there's something for you to take away in terms of utilising cloud technology or AI for your business. But if you do want to know more, search for NatWest Business Hub. There's a huge amount of information there and tips and advice. So thank you.
Thank you.